say next Sunday. Do not come here. Go to Houston. Is that right? I should have checked before I said that. Next Sunday is the church picnic. Amen. So we will be there. We will do morning service in the park. And then we're going to eat the great foods in the culinary department. Amen? And then we're going to have stuff to give away for the children as they get ready to go back to school. And not just the school-age children, I mean, even some college materials, notebooks, things of that nature. So it's a time of just reflecting, refreshing, and just relationship. Amen? So I ask and I pray that you be part of that next Sunday. Come out ready to have a good time in the Lord. Amen? How many know fellowship is necessary? It's necessary. If we're going to grow, we've got to hang out together. Amen. We've got to hang out together, eat together, fellowship together. Who knows, when we get to heaven, your mansion might be next to mine. Amen. That's if you want to go. I'm going. I don't know about you. I'm going. Is there anybody determined that knows that they want to go to heaven and they're doing all that they can to make heaven their home? So please keep that in mind. And you don't want to hang out with me because we got some things happening next month that's it's going to be shifty. It's going to, it might not be a real word, but it's going to shift some stuff. And you just got to be excited because we're going into some territory that I believe is ordained of God. Because how many of you can't stay stuck? How long are we going to compass about this same mountain? We've got to do something. Look at somebody and say, we've got to do something. We've got to do something. We've got to do something. Amen. Sometime in ministry, you can get to a point where it feels like you reach a plateau and you're like, man, this is just going on and on and on. There has to be more. And I'm just excited as I try to preach and teach and do all that I can to kind of convey what God has placed it on me and in me. And sometimes the way he gives it to me, I might not do the best job presenting it. But there are some things that God has planned for our life that is big. And anytime he has something big planned for your life, it comes with challenges. It comes with challenges because anything that's bigger than your comfort is going to make you uncomfortable. And so often we love our comfort so much that even when we're in a place of being uncomfortable, we rush back to being comfortable, and sometimes we miss out on really all the things that God wants to do. But we've got to be determined at this level to say, even if I have to go through a season where things are awkward, I'm okay with it being awkward as long as I know I'm aligned with the assignment. You know what I'm saying? I'll deal with things being awkward as long as I know I'm aligned with the assignment. I've said it this way before, maybe it needs to be said again. Sometimes what we rely on is at the same level of our reluctancy. So what I'm scared to do and what I normally trust to do, they're at the same level. And when you do that, it retards movement because you're too scared to move, and even though you're uncomfortable where you are, you just stuck. Something has to supersede. And I need your reliance on God to supersede your reluctance of being discomfortable.
Come on. Yeah, come on.
Because if my reluctance and my reliance on God, then I'm going to keep being paralyzed. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes. I only got one verse that I'm going to read. And then I'm going to cross-reference for preaching purposes St. John chapter number 2. You don't have to stand. I'm down here on the floor with you. We just going to hang out today. Is that all right?
Okay.
And man, I've been on vacation, had an opportunity to just get away for a moment from the hustle and bustle of life on one level, but it still does not leave you completely. Because sometimes it's not where you are, it's what's going on in your mind. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can run halfway across the world and still not get away from you. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just have to be honest, like, man, no matter where I go, I'm going to be there. So I'm going to have to deal with some stuff. Internally, you know. So, and as I deal with that, I'm coming into spiritually what I call, it's a medical term, I learned it in mortuary school, it's called a bifurcation. Yeah, bifurcation. It's where one stream is split into two. It's still in the same flow, but there's something that is separated. It's a bifurcation. It's not being disconnected, but it's spreading. Living word, I announced to you like God announced to me, you're in your place of extension in your reach and expansion in your territory. He's extending your reach and expanding. It's a bifurcation. They're not two different things. They're two different things, but they're coming from the same string. Bifurcation. You see that in veins. You see it in arteries, where in order for blood to flow completely through your body, and we have this one heart, but off this one heart, you got your ascending, descending aorta, you got all these other carotid, all other arteries that come off of it, and as they go far, they go as far, and then they bifurcate. And then you have a bifurcation off the bifurcation. And before you know it, every area is being fed properly because God knows how to ordain divine split. But it's still in the same flow. Because I don't want you to get nervous when you see split. Oh, that means we're being separate. We still in the same flow. But in order to reach further, some things have to be split and be extended in order to reach more what? Territory. All right. Ecclesiastes chapter number 11. Ecclesiastes chapter number 11 now. Just for historical purpose, anytime you go to Ecclesiastes, if you do due diligence of studying, in the first church, the first conclave of scholars to discover what would be put in the Holy Writ, there was an argument about Ecclesiastes because of how it's written, that they felt it was kind of contradictory because in some area it's almost as if the writer is flexing on both sides, almost in the sense of double-mindedness, how he states things. At first it was received that Solomon wrote it, because Solomon, who is the son of David that comes after the death of the first son that Bathsheba had with David, they had another child, and the son that came after that was Solomon, who was considered the wisest man. We know Solomon wrote Proverbs, but when it came to Ecclesiastes, at first all the clergymen and the scholars of that time said, yeah, Solomon wrote it, and then they wanted to argue and say Solomon didn't write it because sometimes when truth hurts you, sometimes you try to discredit it so you don't have to receive it. So they tried to devalue it by saying, well, maybe Solomon didn't write it, because if Solomon didn't write it and he had wisdom, then we don't have to look at it as being wisdom, because what he was saying was so true. Instead of being transformed by the truth, they wanted to ignore the truth by discrediting the truth, thinking if they discredited the truth wouldn't be the truth, but the truth stands even when you don't like it, because truth is true. So because of that, even though they try to discredit that Solomon didn't write it, they couldn't argue at the end that it still needed to be in the book. We believe that Solomon wrote it, but he wrote it at a different time. That's why he didn't sound like he sounded in Proverbs. Because Proverbs, he writes, again, scholarly, he writes that at a younger age. And when he writes Ecclesiastes, he's at an older age. And to be honest, you shouldn't sound like the 13-year-old. You should sound like the 30-year-old. Please tell me you don't sound like you used to sound after you've been through what you've been through, because that means you got to go back through it again. So when you deal with him in Ecclesiastes, again, this is just kind of stuff I've said before, that he speaks from another tone because he's been living in time. Tones change over time. You can take anything that is aged, and the way it sounds when it's young does not sound the same way when it gets old. I know y'all all got modern cars and y'all never had a hoopty.
Oh, I got one now.
A hoopty tells you that time has a way of changing your tune. When you got that new car, nobody heard you coming. But in your hoopty, we knew you and you were 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
Because time is going to help it changes. In Ecclesiastes chapter number 11, verse number 4, I'm going to read it out of the King James Version, and then I'm going to read it out of the New Living Translation. And we just going to work this verse for your hearing today. Is that all right? Verse number 4 in chapter number 11 of Ecclesiastes, it says, "He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap." Let me read that again. "He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap." Verse number 4, chapter number 11 in Ecclesiastes in the New Living Translation, it says this: "If you wait for the perfect conditions, you will never get anything done."
You're right.
Let me read that one more time.
One more time.
If you wait for perfect conditions, you will not get anything done. For a few moments, I need you to look at your neighbor like they in trouble. And say it like your mama and them would say it when they were yelling at you in the audience of other folks, but they didn't want other folks to hear it. You know how they do, put their teeth and give you that look and say, "Neighbor, quit waiting for perfect conditions to make your next move." Or should quit waiting for perfect conditions to make your next move. Y'all ain't helping me. Look at somebody and get loud with them and say, "Quit waiting for perfect conditions to make your next move." God, have your way in this place in Jesus' name. When I drive into work, I'm coming off Route 2 heading east towards Cleveland. I get off on Broadway, the exit after 58. And when I get right there on Murray Ridge, or whatever you want to call that road, I call it Broadway, I was mesmerized by the fact that when I got to the light, there were birds flying down by the light, and they were flying up into the light, which caused me to recognize that they had made a nest in birds make nests on top of my light. But I've never seen birds make a nest inside of a traffic light, which puts them right at an intersection. Birds nesting in a light at an intersection. They're nesting in something that is a signal for when one should proceed. But they're nesting there because they become comfortable at an intersection. Birds of a feather. How y'all doing this morning? I believe what I seen there is happening
All right.
in
Here.
y'all said it, I did. Okay. In my mind, I was confused. I'm like, why would they build a nest inside the traffic light? Right there on Broadway, right by, used to be the marathon, right before you get to work, right before you get to McDonald's. Go there, you'll see it every morning. They fly right up, like, what in the world? The problem I have is how can you rest at an intersection when there's a whole lot of honking of the horn, a whole lot of revving of engines, a whole lot of blinking of lights, but yet you're able to rest. There must have been an adjustment in the mindset of the bird to the things that would normally startle them, scare them, activate them. They have made so numb that they can now rest in a place where most folks could never rest because it's not long enough to stay the same for you to rest. Y'all gotta catch that, because you can't stay at a signal forever because it's on a timer. But how can they rest there? It's because somewhere in their mindset they found space in the intersection. And it's dangerous when you misuse space as a resting place versus as a place that keeps you from having collisions with the wrong thing.
All right.
Y'all still with me? As I thought about that, I thought about conditions, situations, circumstances that we face that sometimes we become comfortable in to the point that it becomes a place where we stay literally too long. We can stay there long, and most of us are analytical enough, we rationalize enough that if we stay there too long and before we become, embarrassed, we know how to justify it. We know how to make excuses for it. We know how to reason it.
Yeah.
To where we talk ourselves into stuff that we're not supposed to be in the first place, but we create a mindset in order for us to be able to handle what we shouldn't have been in that long in the first place, and we start making it look like it's everybody else's fault, when if the truth be told, the only reason some of you are still where you are is because you haven't made a move yet.
Talk about it.
So there has to be an inspiring moment, a message that goes against the grain, that grabs you, that pushes you, provokes you, causes you to remember that you ain't supposed to be resting at no intersection. Because God did not place you here just for you to stay right where you are and not make progress. Because so many times we have more than what it takes to to get it done, but we just haven't moved forward in the call to watch what he's placed in our life be manifested. As I was driving in today, it was me and Spencer, and on our way here, we saw something peculiar that caused me and my son to have a conversation. I was driving down Erie Avenue, and on my right side, coming towards me, was a man who was in a motor wheelchair. And he was moving. He was moving so much that Spencer looked at me like, that ain't right there. And it led to a conversation about him being able to move even though he has a handicap. Even though he had a handicap, he was still moving. He didn't have the abilities and the faculties like we have, but yet he was still and he was moving fast. Y'all catch that? Even though he didn't have all the faculties, all the abilities that we had, he was moving. It didn't lie to the question that my son asked me. He said, what if that gentleman wants to drive? He said, how can he drive in that condition? And I remember I had saw a story on 2020 about a lady who didn't have any arms, but yet she was able to drive. So I told Spencer, look up on YouTube. I said, man, you ain't got to have everything to move. You just got to have a desire to get it done. Y'all listen, I'm preaching. Really, I'm preaching already.
All right.
So, from Lakeview Park to the time we got here to the church, Spencer is looking on my phone at YouTube, mesmerized by a woman with no arms driving a car.
Right.
A woman with no arms putting on makeup. Y'all not catching me. Typing on the computer. And he's looking at this saying, wow. And when I thought about that, wow, I said, how crazy are we looking for perfect conditions before we make a move when other folks don't even have what we have and they're already on the move. I said, all right. That's my intro. Give me another 10 minutes and I'll leave you alone. In this particular passage of scripture, Solomon is teaching about timing in the sense of sowing seed in order to reap a harvest. His concept at some tone in study is about wealth. But when I deal with wealth, I'm not just talking about financial. I'm talking about living on food. How many ready to live on food? I'm not talking about living on a quarter of a tank, living on half of a tank. I'm talking about living on food.
Yes.
He says, in order to live on food, you got to know how to work what you're working with. That's basically
All right.
what he's letting us know. You got to know how to work what you're working with. Talking about different things, the scripture I quote so often when I do an offering, cast that burden upon that water, after a few days you shall find it. Which means you got to know how to release it in your now and know how your now is going to work in your later. But when your later comes back, it'll still be your now. It's in that thought, like I tried to give you something before I left. Sometimes your next will collide with your now. Your next runs right into your now. It's not separate. By the time you're in your next is now. You know what I mean? It's no delay. But sometimes we delay it because we place ourselves in traffic lights instead of staying on the roadway of life. And we rest in signals when we should be allowing that signal to activate our next move. The bird is resting in the thing that he should be watching. You gotta be careful when you begin to place yourself in predicaments that are to be point checkers. Sometimes there are things in your life that God will let come down your street in order to be a point checker. For you to look at where you are and say, okay, I need to fix that. I need to do that. It's not there to demote you. It's a checkpoint.
week. So we don't get a checkup until by the time we get there, we ain't getting a checkup, we gotta be checked in.
Come on now. Yeah. 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 Reach on that.
So now I'm caught up in something that shouldn't have taken this long, but because I've allowed myself to let everything else take longer than it's supposed to, I created a course for everything to have longer than it's supposed to. Y'all miss that. Because I've allowed some things to take longer than it's supposed to, I've set the precedent that everything in my life can take longer than it's supposed to. Y'all missed it. Because I've allowed things to take longer than it's supposed to, I've set the precedent that everything in my life takes longer than it's supposed to. I hung out with that person 3 months longer than I was supposed to, so now everything.
Yeah.
So now I created a course where everything takes longer. Come on,
It is true. Yeah. Come on.
Not like you want everything quick now when you've been letting everything else take longer.
Right.
That's why folks know you. And you said you weren't coming. But we waited for you anyway.
Yes.
Didn't I tell you wasn't coming? Yeah. But then why were you waiting? Because I know you. You don't mean what you say. See, some of you have lived such a way that when it's played back to you, you don't even like it.
Yeah. Right. Jesus.
Are y'all with me?
Yes. Come on.
Okay, what I love about this text is that Solomon works the thought in the King James Version, but in the New Living Translation gives me more of a dagger to do surgery with. In the New Testament, in the King James Version, it says, "He that observeth the wind shall not sow." You can't observe wind unless there's something for the wind to respond to. In order for me to really see the power of wind, I've got to see how it responds to things. When moving without anything for it to encounter, you'll never know the power of the wind. It's only when I see it blow over a tree, then I realize how powerful the wind is. It's only when I see it blow off the shingles of the roof that we say that was strong wind. The problem with observing the wind, unless I put something out there for the wind to interact with, I'll never see how y'all caught it here. See, your problem, you're trying to see it do something without giving it something to see it do it with. I can't observe the wind without putting something out there for the wind to come against to show me how it's not following me here. That's why when you're watching the wind is watching you and wondering when you're going to let the wind be the wind.
Yes.
Okay. You say the wind is blowing and I don't have anything to watch it interact with. It is in that same line in the New Living Translation. It says, if you're waiting for perfect conditions. Somebody say perfect conditions.
Perfect condition.
What is perfect conditions? Huh? Perfect conditions. See, that is a catchphrase. Because perfect conditions depends on what you're doing will determine whether it's perfect conditions. I can't go skiing in Florida. Even in the wintertime. Because the conditions in Florida, even in the wintertime, are not perfect. Y'all It's heavy, but it's the truth.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
How many of y'all ever been paralyzed because you keep waiting? I'm gonna tell them. I'm just waiting on the perfect time.
Yeah.
Thinking that the anxiety and the nervousness, thank you, Sister Diane, it's gonna go away. If I could just get rid of these bubble guts, if I could just wait till I get them alone. And then when y'all alone, like, no, I better not tell them alone, I better have somebody there. And then you get somebody there like, no, I don't need them to be there because they ain't gonna be the right one. And before you know it, even the perfect conditions that you thought, you keep changing it. Come here.
Come on, Pastor.
Because there is no perfect condition. Someone say, I'm getting ready to go back to school. I'm gonna do it just as soon as I'm gonna pay a couple of things off. I'm gonna pay my credit card down.
Right.
I'm just gonna pay that down, and then I'm gonna go back to school. Did you know Dillard's had a 2-for-1 sale? I'm just gonna buy 2 outfits, 1 pair of shoes. Well, I'm gonna get good. You know Dillard's gonna be having a good sale on shoes. I'm gonna get 2, just 2. So now your perfect condition just got delayed, which now gives everything in your life permission to be delayed, because now you let everything take longer. Come here. And it's supposed to, y'all see where I'm going here. So now we're in this conundrum of dealing with perfect conditions, dealing with perfect situations, and now we all messed up because you ain't perfect.
That's right. That's right. All right.
So you want perfect conditions, then you can't go in it. With your so even if it's perfect, guess what happens as soon as you show up? Oh, man! So if we keep riding on the reel of I'm waiting on the perfect condition, guess what? The devil got you sleeping at the intersection.
All right.
And can I just be honest, no pun intended, you don't look good hanging out on the corner.
All right. Say it, Pastor.
Now you wonder why everything's approaching you. Because you hanging out.
On the corner. Keep it moving.
If you ain't that type of person, then why you hanging out?
All right. All right.
I can't believe it's coming at me like that when you've been hanging out
Yeah.
on the corner.
Right.
Do you know who I am? I can't tell the way you hanging out.
Come on. Watch out now.
You all dressed up and hanging out. What are we to think of thee? Because you reside there. I've seen you hanging out this morning. and his disciples are at a wedding. Look at them and say they're at a wedding. They said the third day, we can argue the third day because the third day deals with journey. It also deals with the concept of reception. It's different levels of study. I'm going to leave all that alone for another time. What I love about it, it says, and his mother was there. Jesus, his mother was invited. Jesus' mother, his mother. You read that text, Minister Wendy, it doesn't mention Mary's name. It just says Jesus' mother. It doesn't just say Mary, because then you would have those who try to argue theologically that Mary could have been a different Mary than Mary, the mother of Jesus. But when we deal with Jesus' mother, we're talking about the one who carried Jesus. The one who had Jesus in her. The one who had Jesus in her is there. The one that had to go through stuff with Jesus. See, if you ever come to somebody who's been through stuff with Jesus in them, they respond to chaos differently than those who never had Jesus in them and been through something. I can sit down right now. I can go on. Y'all listen, I just preached. The way you respond tells me whether you ever had Jesus in you or if Jesus is still in you. Because when things go crazy, it's what comes out of your mouth that lets me know whether or not you know Jesus. Because when stuff goes crazy, even if you're in there to a situation that's not perfect, you got a peacemaker. You got, if there anybody in the living world that anybody don't have to do it yet, but know how to call on that name. Is there anybody that knows how to call on them? Y'all not helping me. Is there anybody that knows how to call that name? Is there anybody that knows how to get his attention? Is there anybody that knows how to call him until he changes the situation? Is there anybody that knows how to call on him until your mind is fixed? Is there anybody that knows how to call on him until he rejuvenates your spirit? Is there, y'all are sitting there. Is there anybody that knows how to call on him? If you do, take 5 seconds and call on that name.
Yes, my Lord.
All right, down now.
Yes. Jesus.
She calls on Jesus. She calls on Jesus because what would have been perceived as perfect condition became unperfect. Normally when you plan a wedding, not unless you just elope, it goes through a strenuous, expensive, laborious task of all kind of checklists, making sure this is done, that is done, this is done, that is done. Because everybody wants a picture perfect, come here, wedding. Even if they're going to have a jacked up marriage, they want a picture.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
It's true. Folks will spend everybody they know's money on making sure the wedding looks good for the people And 25 cents that it costs per plate.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Call him Jesus.
So, you know that they make sure everything is top notch. Because you understand, Old Testament, marriage was a big ordeal because you had generations of blessings that were being passed down and prescribed, because a marriage didn't start by the invitation of the mindset of the two individuals that were being married, but it was by the foresays or the parents before. So you had two generations above the generation that was being married that had already predicted that this time at this age, this next generation would be married, because it was pre-planned. I'm glad to know that even if you pre-plan stuff, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to be perfect. Because some of y'all think, had I pre-planned it better, it would have been perfect. But I came to tell you, quit waiting on a perfect. I'm just really preaching to 5 of us here. Because you could have did all of that and it's still not big. Okay, they ran out of wine. Come on, Pastor. Which means a couple of things in exegetical teaching. It would be, if I planned it and I invited so many guests, I had already prescribed that each guest should drink 3.5 glasses of wine. But somebody in the crew, you bug them,
And him.
they didn't get protocol understanding. And instead of drinking 3.5 glasses, they took a whole bottle. Y'all got it? So now they're off, not because they didn't plan, but somebody in the crew took more than you were expecting. Let me preach a little bit here. Have you ever had somebody in your life that took more from you than you were expecting? So now you're in a default, not because you didn't plan, not because you didn't have help me, Jesus, not because you didn't have destiny, but you had somebody use you more than you had thought they would. I need more people to shout right here and say, I wasn't always like this. Somebody used me, but thank God for Jesus. Even though I got used, Jesus was there for me. Even though I was talked about, Jesus. I had perfect conditions,
Yeah.
but I didn't have perfect people around. And I got you. Okay. Okay. 2 more minutes, I'll leave it alone. So, they got a deficiency because somebody took more than you bargained for. And now, other folks still want what's required, because you can't have the ceremony or celebration without wine. So now, what is required is not there. What do you do when folks are asking something of you that you ain't got to give? How do you explain you tired to people that still need you to do? Y'all know how we preach, let me. Y'all might need to give me a seat because I feel like counseling myself here. What do you do when you reach a place where you feel depleted, but there's still more that needs to be done? And now you're telling yourself, I'm in this because I should have waited for the perfect. Yeah, when you come here, have you ever looked back and said, if I've been in the perfect condition, it here. You've been through something over there. You let that mouth bleed over and say, I ain't doing nothing else until it's perfect. And God is saying, baby, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as you got me. Because if you got me, yeah. I feel like karate chopping a demon up in this place. As long as I got King Jesus, as long, I wish I had a singer here. As long as I got King Jesus, as long as I got, I don't need. The mother of Jesus. Not Mary, the mother, who is Mary, but we're not calling her Mary, we're calling her the mother. She called on Jesus. And says, Jesus, they ain't got no wine. Now the text came open for discussion. It says they wanted wine. And we can almost try to suggest who the they were. But I know in the day it wasn't Jesus. Because Jesus is all knowing. Jesus wouldn't want something that they didn't have. I'm gonna help y'all. They say, and they wanted wine. Yes. But she talked to Jesus. So Jesus wasn't wanting wine. Because Jesus already knew that there was no wine. Because he's all knowing. It's amazing that Jesus will never require something from you that you can't give because he already knows you. Okay. He never asks you to do something that you can't do because he knows what you can do. I wish I had help right here. That's why can't nobody do me like Jesus, because Jesus knows what to and they do in the matrix here. He knows how to pull you up. He knows how to pull you out. He knows how to pull. I'll tell you something. I'm out of here. I'm out of time. All right, this is what happened.
Yeah.
I feel something coming. I'm telling y'all. Finally, y'all need to just get up. I know it's unorthodox, but you need to do a matrix in your situation. Let's say by this time tomorrow, I'll never be the same. I'm getting ready to call on the name of Jesus. That name that is above every name. That name that is above everything. At the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow.
Hallelujah.
She calls on Jesus because there's chaos in what should have been perfect condition. Jesus responds, he says, what have I to do with this? What does this have to do with me? They planned this, and they called this a perfect condition. See, when you have Jesus, he makes everything. My best plans without him is the worst plans that I can make.
Amen.
My best plans made without him are the worst plans I could ever make. She says, we need wine. They want wine, we need wine. Then he says, well, what have I to do with it? Which is to deal with the whole historical value of context. And he says, man, this really is not about me, but you're including me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I need some of y'all to know that some things you're in right now, if you know what's best, you would include.
Jesus, come on, Pastor.
Some decisions I made, I had to go like, oh, Jesus? Like you come to your parents like, I went to get this loan and this helped me to co-sign. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, I got like the job and everything. You understand? I'm making fun of my dad. My dad wore a hearing aid. Before Bluetooth and all that was popular, my dad was having a hearing aid. And sometimes when I talk like that, he'd be like, what you say, love? Like, I'm gonna need you to co-sign. And sometimes God does that to you, not because he's hard to hear it, but he wants you to hear what you're saying to him. And then as I would say, he would tell me what I told him. Junior, you asked me to co-sign? Yes, sir.
Come on, Pastor.
Some of y'all are saying that, now like, God, I'm in something. I need you. God, I can't get out of this project. He's saying, what? Did you say you need me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You said you can't make it without me? Yes, sir. You're not going to be able to get it if I don't help you? Correct, sir. I wish I had somebody that would be out and say, Lord, I need you. I can't get through this. I thought I needed perfect conditions. But the truth is, I need you. And if I got you, I don't need conditions to be perfect. I mean, look at your neighbor. I said, neighbor, you do not need perfect conditions, but you do need. If you would just help me, I ain't had you mess with your neighbor. Get out of your seat and go tell 3 people. I said, you don't need perfect conditions. You just need Jesus. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need Jesus. You don't need a perfect credit score. You just need Jesus. You don't need the best education. You just need Jesus. You don't need everybody to like you. You just need Jesus. You don't need all the money in the bank. You just need Jesus. I need somebody that's a Jesus lover. I need somebody that can be honest and say, I need you. I don't need perfect conditions. I need Jesus. I don't need perfect conditions. I don't need perfect conditions. I need Jesus. I don't need everybody to like me. I need Jesus. I don't need all the money in the world. I need Jesus. I don't need to be the highest in my class. I need Jesus. I don't even need to live in the best neighborhood or the best community. Y'all better leave me alone. I need Jesus. And the reason I'm not waiting on perfect conditions now is because I got Jesus. And because I got him, that is enough. Stand to your feet in this place. I'm done. I'm done yet. Listen. We got some major things that we're walking into in this next phase. I'm telling you, it's a bifurcation. He's extending our reach, expanding our territory. It's bifurcation now. Y'all see it. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's not a different flow. He's expanding our reach, enlarging our territory. Living Word is going through a bifurcation. He's expanding our reach, enlarging our territory. Y'all need to get that in because you're going to hear stuff. What y'all doing? We're going through a bifurcation. He's expanding our reach, enlarging. What are y'all doing? He's expanding our reach, enlarging our territory. Y'all doing too much. He's expanding our reach. He's enlarging our territory. Y'all don't need to do that. Hey, he's expanding. He is, not you. He's expanding our reach. He's enlarging our territory. If I was y'all, I wouldn't do that. You remind me of a bird that lived in a traffic light. And we got too many people living in places that are not meant to be rest places. And I'm here to challenge somebody. When we was leaving Orlando, Florida, Tuesday evening around 7 o'clock, we got to the airport a little bit after 5. We were there 2 hours. And on our way to the airport, it was raining like crazy. It's coming down. Matter of fact, every day in Florida it rains. Florida's funny, it rains like for an hour, hour and a half. Then it gets muggy and it gets hot. But it was 5 o'clock and it's raining. I get to the airport, I'm looking at my phone, and I know this flight is going to be delayed. I already know because it's raining. It's raining. And looking there, so my flight's leaving at 7, I'm just looking. Personally, like, man, we rushing, man. We could have just hung out. Because I know, as soon as we get to the airport, it's raining, y'all. It's raining. You know they ain't getting ready to take off. It's raining hard too. You already know. On there, the screen it said, flight still on time. Whatever. Go through the checkpoint. Have to get on the train to go to your gate. You get off there. I'm like, y'all, we rushing, but I already know. I done flew enough to know. When it's raining like that, we ain't going nowhere. These are not the right conditions for us to fly. Get to the gate. The announcer comes up like, here we go. Come on, come on. We're getting ready now to start boarding. I'm like, it's raining. How you gonna fly in the rain? We get on the flight, y'all. It's still raining. Now, I'm a little nervous, Jane. I'm like, this ain't no conditions. We'll be fine, man. We leave on time in the rain. We get up in the air. Come here! He gets above the storm and gets us to where we need to be. Even in the storm. Come here! Even were my perfect conditions. It wasn't perfect conditions for me, but guess what, y'all? I wasn't the pilot. I wish I had help here. If your pilot is experienced with storms, somebody help me. Y'all looking at me. I got a pilot. Look at somebody. Let's go. Come on, look at somebody and say, my pilot knows how to handle the storm. He knows how we go. That's a shout right there. That's a 4-second shout. That's a shout right there. I need 2 people to shout. Not because you were in the storm, but because you had a pilot who knew how to fly through the storm. Okay. Altar call. Steve, he knew I love it. And you know, when you're up there, they talk about turbulence. They said, well, we understand the wind shaft now. That we understand the pockets, you know, in the aerodynamics and our studies. But they said, we don't get nervous about rain. It's the lightning and the thunder that we live in rain. Especially from this area, you have to be experienced because you can't be this close to the ocean and be nervous with rain because of where Florida is right now. You will always have rain. Now you hear what I'm saying? Because that's a byproduct of your position. Let me prophesy to 5 of you. Where you are, there are certain things you should expect. You can't be that close to the ocean with all this heat and not have clouds that have rain. Y'all are in trouble. You can't have all that water, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and then bring transformation. You can't have that. My position determines certain things that I have to go through. Because there's certain things I won't go through because of where I'm positioned. Somebody in here today, your salvation is calling you because there are certain things that you need God to do that you can't do for yourself. And you've reached your limits. You can't do anymore. You can keep planning, but your plans will never be perfect. It's Him who makes things work together lovely. If you're here today and you have not been saved, I need you to come give God your heart. Come on. You're standing. Somebody here today in their life is in the balance of transformation.